Please welcome Rick Jewell.
Good morning. I hope everyone is having a great conference, and thank you for coming to the supply chain keynote this morning. I'm going to kick it off. We've got 45 minutes of a number of different things. I'm going to kick things off with a quick State of the Union for Oracle Supply Chain, if you will. At that point, then, we'll invite some customers up and give them a chance to talk about the story and what they've accomplished at their companies. And then finally, John Chorley will be here to demo some of the new products that we are working on and show you some of the things that I'll touch on in my session here, but then John's going to actually show it to you. So with that, let's get started. So why do customers choose Oracle? Why do they specifically choose Oracle Supply Chain? And first and foremost, I trust that all of you have seen the difference in Oracle. I certainly have, having been here a long period of time, but we've gone from being product focused to being customer centric. That's all there is to it. It's all about you. And a new orientation to things. We monitor your environments to find problems before you find those problems. From a product perspective, without question, we have the broadest, the deepest product and solution on the market, on the planet, for that matter. But the benefit of how we've built this for you is that you can consume those by module. So it's not like you need to bite the whole thing at the same time, but we have the broadest, and you can take it in modules and phased approaches. Best technology. Everyone has migrated their environments to OCI. All of you are on OCI at this point. A faster, more reliable platform, and it offers a huge advantage to you and to us by having a tech stack that is a red stack all the way down. There's no lowest common denominator. We can immediately leverage the capabilities that OCI put in place, and you'll see some of that. Industry specialization. We are very focused on key industries, but providing deep functionality in concert with our partners so that your industry is completely covered by our solutions. And then lastly, the overall connected thread. A key component, a key orientation for how we built the supply chain products, to be looking at alignment across the enterprise and across the entire ecosystem. So let's start digging into each one of those areas. First, from a customer-focused perspective, as I say, we now have 325,000 users of our systems in our Customer Connect program, which means that you can leverage and access information, ideas, and enhancements logged by other customers that you can vote on, training events, how-tos, best practices, things like that. We have a concept of shift left, which is we mine the SRs, the service requests that you log, and understand what is the issue that you are having to log a service request for. And then what shift left is about is get that information to you so you don't have to ask that question. So it's a regular process that we have. And that's part of why we have development and support in the very same organization. 40 release updates. We have been at this for 10 years. Not specifically supply chain. We started a little bit later than that, but we have now put out 40 releases. We have honed our capabilities. We know how to develop that, and we can provide non-invasive updates, and that we promise with an opt-in orientation that when you go home on a Friday night and come back in on a Saturday morning, we promise you that the system will look exactly the same as when you left it. But in the background, there are hundreds of new features available that you, on your own time frame and on your own schedule, can enable. And then lastly, from a partner perspective, and the ecosystem just continues to grow and grow. We have 20,000 SI partners, individuals who are now fully trained and capable of implementing our systems. For those of you who are not aware, we have certification tests that we require our consulting partners to take, and we track that. So for every single SI, we know how many people are certified and have successfully passed the tests in each functional area, as well as who are the individuals themselves, the email ID of that individual. So we are up over 4,000 customers. What is one of the best parts of this, quite honestly, is that 70% of our customers are live on some component of the system. So they are already gaining benefits as they continue the journey. Moving on to some of the tech. Redwood. I think you know well Redwood UX. Our view on the UX, quite honestly, is like the Golden Gate Bridge. Once we finish painting it, we need to go back around and start again. And with Redwood, that is the latest UX capabilities that we have. Some of the new things, Elasticsearch, which is a component that will be used across a number of different applications. Our new self-service procurement, progressive web app, which basically allows the same UX, the same code, to be rendered on a phone, on a tablet, or in a browser. So it adjusts automatically to any form factor. So your users, it doesn't matter what vehicle that they are using to get into the system and communicate with the system, the UIs will look identical on any of those different form factors. A new graphical UI in WMS, and I think Paritesh, who's going to be up here from Zebra, will be happy to know that we have a Zebra device that we use for this. And then lastly, the new Gantt for production scheduling. And John, when he comes up, is going to be demoing a lot more of Redwood. You will see an increased amount of Redwood UIs in the next few releases. Excuse me. AI. We've been busy at AI. Gen AI is certainly a hot topic. We'll talk about that also later on. But the number of things that we've done, spend classification, be able to consolidate spend, identify leakage, and really analyze with algorithms. And this is all part of standard product. WMS cycle time predictions. Take every wave pick, every pick wave that you do, identify based on history and the item, location in the warehouse, et cetera, predict how long each wave is going to take, and thus be able to predict the order completion. Shipment lead time, very similar to that. In our OTM, transportation management, be able to break down each ship leg, and based on history, the carrier, the seasonality, the time of the year, be able to predict how long will be the actual ship time to your customers. Anomaly detection from a IoT perspective, working against our maintenance and our manufacturing products, that basically identifies anomalies and then provides predictive and preventative maintenance work orders should that anomaly be detected before the machine has a problem, to keep the manufacturing up 24/7. And then lastly was the new product introduction, demand forecasting, which basically, for a brand new product that you're bringing to market, we will analyze previous product launches and the attributes of those products that we launched, whether they were good, and even more importantly, good launches versus bad launches, and then bring that information to try and provide a forecast that is as close to reality as possible for a brand new product. Moving on to the industry capabilities. I'm not going to go through this, but number one, it's not an exhaustive list of all the industries where we're having market success. nor is this a exhaustive list of everything in these industries, but it really is best in class, best practice capabilities, and even more important to you in your industries, partner solutions. Our ecosystem of product partners and as well as services partners have built a number of extensions which enhance and supplement the core capabilities. So some of the recent things, and this is kind of the slide of what have we done for you lately, and is really what we've done in the last year since we were together last here in Las Vegas. So some of the UX areas, as I mentioned, embedded AI and IoT, significant movement forward for our asset-intensive customers, quite a bit of work around manufacturing, not only discrete, but bringing more process capabilities to bear, new costing methods that are needed in various parts of the world, PLM to assist agile customers for getting into the cloud, new cost roll-up, all of these things in the last year. Healthcare functionality where recall management is absolutely imperative. We all have recall issues, but in the healthcare industry, one of our customers said that they have upwards of 200 recalls a month. And so a requirement for our health and safety for that to be managed properly. Into the ordering and distribution area, OM for subscriptions. So full subscription management, the ability to sell product and services together on the same order, channel revenue management, getting into customer programs, in addition to the supplier programs that we have had in the past. And then lastly, continued movement into FAW, Fusion Analytics Warehouse, adding more and more KPIs, more business insights for all the different supply chain products. So continuing those investments, again, these are just the highlights, but these are on the near-term roadmap for us as far as continuing to build broad and deep capabilities in each one of our focused industries. And then lastly, I talked about the digital thread. And a key element of how we built these products is that, in that we have a lot of competitors who talk about their command center capability. Well, how they do that is by integrating their apps to a bunch of other apps. We are the command center with SCM Cloud. It's all Oracle, it's all out of the box, and allows you to really detect, decide, and execute, and be able to make use real-time information to make the right decisions at the right times. So, before I move on here, we believe the time is now. We have a proven capability throughout the suite, deep functionality, 21st century capabilities. And a number of you have already benefited from some of those. A growing ecosystem of our system integrator partners. And then ongoing innovation, not only functionality, but as I say, technology as well, that we can immediately bring to bear and bring thousands of new features every year that are all customer-driven in non-invasive updates. So with that, let me ask, let's go a little bit deeper on some of this and ask that John Chorley and Chris Leone join me on stage.
All right.
Okay. Well, that was fantastic. Great set of innovations there, great set of developments, and just a really great position to be in right now. But before we begin our conversation, I have an announcement for you all. After 33 years, and an amazing career at Oracle, 34 years, an amazing career at Oracle. Rick Jewell is retiring and is handing the reins of SCM development leadership to Chris Leone, who's joined us on the stage here today. So congratulations to you both. I think there's tremendous possibilities here, both in terms of you spending more time with your family and your new granddaughter, and Chris bringing some of the things you've done in HCM and combining those with supply chain. So fantastic. Also behind me now, we should see our Change Agent Award winners. We're obviously going to showcase those folks. We want to congratulate them in terms of winning these awards. And it really does represent the kind of success that can be driven with Oracle Solutions and Oracle SCM Solutions. So congratulations to them all as well. All right, we're going to have a conversation now. I'm going to begin with Rick, of course. So Rick, may I ask you, what aspects, after an illustrious career, what aspects of the current SCM Cloud Suite do you think are most significant, and which of those are you most proud of?
I think I probably answered both questions is the same. Again, I probably said it too many times in the first 10 minutes here of breadth and depth. What we've been able to accomplish in a relatively short number of years, we are very proud of. And we have, without question, the broadest and deepest set of solutions on the market. But tied in with that, we're also very proud of the fact that we are in the leaders quadrant in 4 of Gartner's MQs.
Yep.
So it's not only depth and breadth, but it's best of breed capabilities.
Right. Best of breed without the headaches.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Chris, you know, you've I think had development leadership roles in most every pillar.
Yeah.
With possible exception of supply chain, and now you're rounding that career out with supply chain. So how do you think that your experiences, your very broad experiences, are going to help with supply chain? What's similar, perhaps, and what do you think are different?
Sure. Hello, everyone, and congratulations to Rick. He's done tremendous job with supply chain system. It's great, and I'm happy to be kind of moving into this position. What are some of the synergies? We have the same beliefs. Look, customers come first. You know, our investment in a customer-first mentality is critical to our success. So making sure that you know, we deliver high-quality products and customers are successful with their implementations. You know, job one. You know, I think the second thing, and it's the same across all the Fusion applications, is, and Rick has beaten this into me, it's the suite. The suite is the most important thing. So, you know, I think it was the same on the HCM side. It's the same on the supply chain side. I think those kind of philosophies will ring true and you know, move things in that direction. So very similar from that perspective. I think some of the differences are, obviously supply chain is a completely different pillar, focused on industries, a lot of different acronyms, as we know. But the other, you know, great thing that Rick has done is built a tremendously strong and deep team. And I think that's going to be a key part of our success going forward, is the depth and knowledge of the leadership that he's put in place. So, you know, I think that's a great piece as well.
That's fantastic. Well, Rick, you've spoken obviously to a lot of customers over your career. So what issues are they raising, particularly as regards supply chain, and how do you feel that our solutions help address those issues?
I mean, we could talk for an hour about this.
Yeah.
And you know, the discussions are a little bit varied, but if I had to summarize it up, it's really the need, especially now in 2023, the need for agility and visibility, not only in your operations, but in your systems. And because that's just the way the world is now in the 21st century. The problem that most customers identify is that they've got older systems, quite complex systems that you've implemented 10 years, 20 years, 25 years ago that were built and implemented to meet the problems of 10 years, 20 years ago. And so struggling to get to, you know, the next generation, if you will, in order to give that agility and visibility in operations.
Yeah.
And that really is, you know, why we made the decision to build Fusion from the ground up.
Yeah.
blank piece of paper. We didn't want our old systems. We needed to look at things in the 21st century. And that's to address those sorts of issues.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that may be something that's sort of common across all of it, but there's also this industry angle that you mentioned, I think, Chris, as well. So, and I think industry-specific requirements is sort of a main definition of supply chain. So how do you think about that, and how do you set priorities accordingly?
Yeah, I mean, I think the current supply chain suite is strong in a number of industries. I think the focus needs to be on just making sure that in the industries that we're strong today in, we get strong enough to make sure we can move the large e-business suite manufacturing base over to the cloud. I think that's priority number one. Making sure that we deliver on any we won't call them gaps, we'll call them opportunities for existing customers in those key industries, and then build on that strength and move into other industries where we can grow the business. And I think that's the priority going forward.
Yeah, so I completely agree with that. And I think that the key point there is helping our installed base adopt cloud. So Rick, why do you think that EBS is EBS customers, the time is right for EBS, JD Edwards, and other customers to move to our cloud solutions?
Well, a couple of comments and then a recommendation. I think we have great solutions, and many of you here and elsewhere of our 4,000 customers have seen the value that we've been able to put into that. We've spent a lot of time building the ecosystem, as I touched on earlier. My recommendation, though, and what I do hear from customers, do a transformation of your operations when you go to the cloud. You may never get another opportunity to do so. I talk to customers all the time, and some will talk about doing a lift and shift of what their current requirements and systems are, and just picking them up and making sure that our cloud can do that. My comment to them has generally been, don't bother. Don't bother. Because you haven't taken advantage of the opportunity to transform your business. The world of 2023 and going forward is a totally different place than we were in the 1990s. And in order to really take advantage of the systems and to then add that visibility and agility to your operations, you must look at this as an opportunity to transform your company.
Yeah, yeah. So Chris, what aspects of our planned and future developments in supply chain and technology in general are you most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, first I always say this, and I'll say it to every team I manage. We need to deliver on the, kind of the basics, the key features customers need in order to get live and move customers from, on-premise to the cloud. So that's first and foremost. Then we can layer in a ton of innovations, and I focused in other product lines on Redwood user experience. Extremely experienced in that. I also run the AI team for apps here at Oracle. So generative AI, traditional AI, machine learning, advanced analytics, deep learning, those types of investments, I think will make sure that we can add value, add productivity to the applications that are already solid today. And I think those are two key areas that I'll make sure we round out a great set of products with.
Okay. Well, Rick, this is your last Oracle Cloud World, and Open World before that, and Apps World before that. An amazing career and legacy. Any closing words?
Well, I mean, let me just add that even before then, for those of you who have been, I know a number of you have been with us for that long, was the OAUG.
Oh, yes.
Which was the Oracle Applications Users Group. And just a quick side story that, again, some people will know. Back in the 90s, there were two of these conferences were boondoggles to Hawaii that the OAUG decided was the right place to have a conference. Not great wisdom of that, because I still remember talking to a customer. We would have 8,000 people registered and show up, but then we'd have like 100 or 200 at most showing up to the major sessions. And I talked to a customer. I still vividly remember it. I will not mention the name of the company because they are still customers. But I said, did you see my session this afternoon? And his comment was, no, that would have interfered with my beach time. So yeah, but obviously things have grown and gotten a lot better. So anyways, it's been a long journey. I trust that, it's all about you. And I want to thank you as customers. It's, if you weren't here, this wouldn't be, we wouldn't be where we are. And so thank you for all of your involvement. When I joined Oracle, we were 400 million in sales and 5,000 people. And we did not have applications. Now we are 40 billion and 160,000 people. So it's been
amazing.
A very long and enjoyable journey. So I'm proud. I'm proud to be involved in it. I'm honored that some people have called me the father of Oracle supply chain. But I'm privileged to be able to work with you all. So thank you for everything, and I leave you in very good hands with these two gentlemen.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Chris. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, we're now going to transition into a customer panel, and before that, we have a short video.
At Zebra Technologies, we use Oracle's on-prem systems. It has served us well for last 15 years. When we decided to upgrade our systems, we wanted to go to a system that allows us to transform, gives us better insights, and allows us to get to the business outcomes quickly. And that is the reason why we went to the cloud. And so far, the supply chain systems, it has served us really, really well.
At AT&T, we made the decision to move to the cloud after assessing our current state, legacy, highly customized supply chain solutions. We identified opportunities to improve data accessibility, our operational policies, plus we wanted to enhance user experience and really leverage new technologies in alignment with AT&T corporate standards.
At Milwaukee Tool, we are relentlessly focused on our end users, providing them solutions to do their jobs day in and day out on the job site. We've also gone through a tremendous transformation of our supply chain and operations from a few sites globally to 19 global operational sites. Oracle is helping us take insights from our end users through our supply chain and operations, understanding how to make sure we can match supply to demand and deliver ultimately what our end users need.
All right. Thank you. Well, please welcome to the stage James Wilhite, Director of Technology and Global Supply Chain for AT&T, Matt Prange, Senior Vice President of Supply Chain, Milwaukee Tool, and Paritosh Sharma, Senior Director of Information Technology at Zebra Technologies. Thank you. Matt, James. You know, I really love this panel because you all come from very different companies. You've all taken somewhat different journeys or are on a journey towards the cloud. And so you all have a different perspective of how cloud can deliver value and how to tackle the challenge of moving enterprises to our cloud solutions. So I'm going to start with you, James. I mean, AT&T is obviously a very, very large company with a long-time Oracle EBS customer, but also a lot of legacy applications, a lot of different solutions. So why did AT&T choose Oracle Cloud, and how did you select that and maybe approach that problem?
Okay, thank you. So we took an assessment of our current state and really determined where we are versus where do we want to go. And where we wanted to go was clear. We wanted to establish a contract to PO linkage, but our current state didn't support that, didn't have the functionality and was no longer meeting our needs. So we made a decision to move to Oracle Cloud and start with sourcing and eventually roll out the procurement as well to establish that PO linkage.
Yep. Yeah, and so perhaps you can give us some scale of that project and the scale of the operation.
So our target audience is about 400 users. However, there are about tens of thousands of secondary users who will be engaged. That's globally, and it also, there are about 20,000 plus events annually that are supported. So large effort to move that over, but it's gone successful so far.
You know, when we talked earlier, you talked about the challenge of change management, which I think we all experience.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned some fairly innovative ways you tackled that. So can you share that with the audience here?
Absolutely. The technology portion can be difficult, but I think the biggest challenge is with the people in the process. We moved a lot of cheese. So we did the obligatory change management, the newsletters, the town halls. However, we determined we needed to go one level deeper. How do we connect directly to those target users? So we leveraged output from surveys and created animated videos, short videos, where we moved ourselves into the cloud and animated our team and our leadership and covered topics that were important to those users based on that feedback, and in a humorous and engaging way, but still sharing information. So that was really effective. Yeah. And it almost became a badge of honor for users to become an avatar or be featured in one of those videos.
Great idea. Sort of a new way of looking at it, consumer-facing kind of way of doing at it, which I think goes together with the idea of cloud is about reinvention.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, so how's it going? What's next?
It's going successful. We immediately started realizing benefits from a data visibility perspective. Which is really important, but even more than that is it opened our eyes to additional opportunities. As opposed to replacing what we had, we now are starting to understand what more can we do, right? Driving more efficiency, having better visibility into that data, and better decision making is the biggest part for us. And now as we move forward in our transformation, we'll see even more benefits come from that.
Okay. Yeah, I often think that the most important day is day 2, the day after going live. What are you going to do next, particularly with all the innovations that come along? Well, switching to you, Matt, Milwaukee Tools, iconic brand. Can you tell us a little bit about your fantastic growth and some of the challenges that's brought to IT and the company?
Yeah, Milwaukee Tool has, beginning in 2011, has grown at a 20% year-over-year pace. For 11 consecutive years. So we were at $895 million in sales in 2011 and over $8 billion in 2022. What that ultimately means is we had a tremendous amount of organic growth, and we really outgrew our technology platforms. They could not support our business much beyond the year that we're in. So we started looking for a partner that could drive that innovation and support our growth in 2023 and beyond.
Yeah, and that partner was Oracle. So you mentioned also you adopted a rollout strategy that would deliver value as you went, but also balance risk. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we wanted to start small, make sure that we were testing our teams and understanding the platforms and driving our capability internally. So we started with a Mexico ERP rollout in August, as well as supply chain planning and one MRP to sort of test the waters and make sure that we are understanding how we can go live and understand the capabilities of the systems.
Yeah, as Rick, my boss, always liked to say, you've got to find the way to eat the elephant. And that's, usually one bite at a time. But, obviously having a plan that's going to get you to where you want to be. So as part of your implementation, I believe you also, as Rick mentioned, challenged some of the historical business practices within Milwaukee Tool and took the opportunity to review and change those. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, Rick's exactly right. Transforming your business is critical as you look to implement any of your Oracle Cloud applications. And for us, the key to that was really engaging the right level of leader. So myself for supply chain, our leader of the Mexico operation, to really question the team and challenge everything that we do to understand if there's a better way. So we spent a lot of time debating, questioning every process step. And really, it took leaders like myself taking ownership of it and saying, this is our system, and we're going to do things differently as we move into the future.
That's fantastic. Well, switching to you, Paritosh, if I may. Zebra Technologies, a company that I've actually known and worked with for years. I used to run WMS development way back when. And you've also been an EBS customer, I think, since 2008.
Right.
So you've also had challenges of growth. Again, more than tripling your size after the acquisition of Motorola. Can you share some of the challenges that brought?
Yes. So in 2014, one fine morning, we just went ahead and acquired a company that was 3 times our size, and overnight we became 4 times. And obviously that came up with a lot of excitement and challenges for IT and everybody. We had 2 very well implemented IT systems from both the companies, and that paved the way for transformation, for consolidation, optimization, and that really kickstarted our transformation journey.
I believe you started with HCM Cloud, which probably will make Chris happy here, but, and then you've moved towards SCM with OTM solutions and planning. Can you tell us how you approached it that way and how those solutions have helped you during the pandemic?
Yes, so at Zebra, I think we always put people first. They are center of every transformation. So it was an easy decision to go with HCM transformation, get everybody on the same platform. And then right after that, we started seeing things around us for tariffs and things that started us to look at OTM, GTM. And we implemented that, and right after we finished that, then we ended up with the pandemic, and what we implemented really served us well for route optimization, for finding optimized rates, and implementing what we had got and just take it to the next level. We also implemented supply chain planning, and that really allowed us to do a lot of what ifs, and in the end helped us to do a proper and really good execution with what we had planned.
I believe you've also transformed some of your business to being a subscription-based business, which I think speaks to some of the comments earlier about how the way people do business now is not the way that they implemented their systems, yes. And that can drive a need for a transformation too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so Zebra started transitioning from a product-based to a solution-based company, and that really opened up the opportunities for getting into solutions and systems that support that. We already had implemented connected commerce and CPQ, and then when we had these opportunities, we went to the subscription cloud, and then that allowed us to open up new revenue models, and at the back end also helped us to be compliant with the ASC 606 revenue standards.
Okay.
So
what's next for Zebra?
So immediately we have EPM cloud, we have supply chain cloud, planning to do integrated business planning, get onto that aspect of AI-based, NPI-based forecasting. I think Rick mentioned, I think that is on the cards. And then we have several things on-prem. The next step is to chart out the plan to go to the cloud.
All right, well, thank you all. That was great. Different companies, different industries, different paths to the cloud, but all, I think, getting value out of your decision to partner with Oracle, and we're looking forward to the journey together. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so next up, I'm going to share a few things that are coming. So I put up this eye chart for you all so that you can see that what Rick was talking about, continuous innovation, is live and well. This does represent a very small subset of all the things that we're delivering in each of the different areas of supply chain. So a very rich, a very active, and a very thoughtful set of solutions coming to you in every quarterly release. I am actually going to focus on just 3 of them to give you a sense, a taste, if you like, of some of these new innovations. So with that, I'm going to get this puppy up and running. Okay, just had to start my VPN connection for these demonstrations. Okay, so some of what's coming. I'm going to focus on our next generation user experience and show you an example of a brand new order management application. I'm going to look at a Gen AI application, capabilities embedded within PLM, Product Master Data Management, and I'm going to showcase some new mobile applications. So first up, we're going to look at the new mobile application, a Redwood-based order management solution. So here we begin with a very lightweight UI, very easy to see and use. We have the ability to enter the customer information, to, if need be, go into the more detailed definition of that customer. A lot of comments that we had where the customer header took up too much space. It was like not always needed, so we've made that optional. So if need be, you can just enter the basics of the customer and get moving with the order very quickly. We've also included a very flexible elastic search capability for item. Here I've just selected a beginning of the part number, but there's a lot of different ways for you to select and find your item. You can then simply add that. You can add the quantities to that. You can default a lot of these values, and then you can gradually build up the order by selecting more and more items. You'll notice that we're ordering that with the most recent item at the top, so that you can easily pick that up and correct it if need be. And that is simply it. That we want it to be fast, quick, and efficient, clean user experience. We can then save that order, and we can then move on to other processes where I want to select and search for a particular order where I want to may make a correction, or indeed do that for a set of orders. Here we've got all the orders that are currently being processed. You can then refine that search condition to look just at the draft orders. And then you can move on from there and maybe refine that based on looking for orders for a particular customer. And then you can select which of those orders you now want to submit for processing. As simple as that. And you can see these orders are now being processed with the scheduled process. I'm now going to switch to the use of Gen AI. This enables you to create a well-structured item description, which is optimized for search engine performance. So I'm going to switch now and run this here. Hang on, let's just close that off and go to my demonstration here. Let's maximize that. So here you have the landing page. What I'm going to do now is to scroll down and see this notification, a reminder that I need to add a proper marketing description to an item. I simply click on that, and you can see that a lot of the item information is already completed. We have a long description, not very well formatted. We have a lot of attributes that have been defined for the item. What we want to do is to combine that all and create a well-formatted marketing description, a customer-facing description that is optimized for search engine performance. All I need to do that is to click on this. And we'll call a generative AI application, which will generate this well-formatted description. You can see here it's broken down by key features, benefits, and so on. That can then be accepted and saved in the formatted description. As simple as that, an assisted authoring use case of Gen AI. Finally, and I have to do a little trick here in order to reformat this for a mobile application, so just bear with me here. Okay, so we have invested heavily in development of a new set of mobile inventory applications, and these are targeted at the healthcare par cart management use case. Those of you who are not familiar with healthcare, there is a whole system where inventory is placed in a location in the hospital. It's really not tracked on a daily basis. It's periodically counted and then replenished based on the results of that count. And so people go around and they count what is in those bins. And we have a whole series of capabilities to do that. We can use 2-bin systems and various other systems. But we also have this mobile application that we've developed specifically to support that use case. So here we go. I'm going to go into the supply chain execution area, go to the par count area. I'm going to select my organization. And now I'm going to scan the par location for which I'm going to do a count. It's going to ask me if I have permission to use the camera, which I will say yes. We're going to scan the barcode. And this gives us, within this location, what are the uncounted items. So let's go next, and I'll scan a locator. I'll scan the item. I'll enter the quantity. And go on to the next item. Well, it may also be possible that some locations or items are not barcode enabled, so you can actually use a drop-down. So I'll do that. And I'll again enter the quantity. And there we go. So I can now end that, and I can see these are the uncounted items, and these are the counted items. So with that, I've demonstrated, I think, 3 new innovations that have come very shortly, next calendar year, and they are indicative of the kind of investments we're making, which are industry-related investments and the use of mobile technology, which we will subsequently expand to other use cases. The use of Redwood, which will enable you to have a much more efficient and user-friendly user experience. In this case, I demonstrated it with order management. And the use of Gen AI and other AI technologies embedded as useful components of our overall solution. Okay, and if you want to find out more, that's why you're here at Oracle Cloud World. There is many sessions, and the demo grounds can share these and other aspects of our development. So I encourage you all to use these sessions or use the demo grounds to find out more. So with that, thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the show.